for the listener, I think it's important that they also know that none of their episodes are going to be flawless. This episode today isn't flawless. I'm dancing around some of my words. I'm not sure if I'm going to share some of that stuff. And I did. And we didn't know exactly where we would go. It wasn't scripted out like on your show. It wasn't pre-planned out. This is raw and organic. And in a lot of ways, there's parts of it that I'm like, oh, I'm not sure. But hey, we're going to release it just like they do with Disney. So.
Yeah. I think one of the things too that helped me was in this process, post attending the podcast movement convention that we met at earlier this summer, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a minute. I came back from that experience very inspired and very driven and like really committing to within the year, I want to be in a different spot in the sense that like I want to be doing content creation full time. I want to call that my full time gig in a year. And one of the things that I did was I stopped and kind of reevaluated the shows that inspired me to start in the first place. And that's shows like Radio Lab, Serial, S-Town, stuff like that. That is just so well produced and well thought through. And sometimes it helps me to also remind myself that while I'm always chasing the aspiration of being another Radio Lab or being another Serial or whatever, being another Up and Vanished, it's also important to remember that like for the indie podcasters out there, a lot of times we are doing this on our own, and it's okay for it to take a while to come up with a workflow and a system that allows you to get to as close as that as possible. I had to give myself a lot of leeway of like some of my favorite podcasts in the world took 3 years to make, and I have 5 days. Like I have a week to release new content, and just remember like almost treating them all like an exercise in my own development towards becoming that great piece of art that some of these podcasts are. And I'll get as close as I can. And there's always a time when I do the first production pass where I'm putting in sound effects and music, and I'll be like, I could add like 6 more things here if I wanted to, but no, we're going to keep going. Like, let's get this episode done as strong as we possibly can. And then we got to move on. We got to make the next one. And then someday there's going to be an opportunity where I'm going to get to spend 3 years on a project and give it that everything that I want to. I don't know. That just was really freeing for me, is to remind myself why I started, who were my inspirations, what did I want to sound like, what did I want my listeners to feel similar to. Like I wanted my listeners to finish an episode feeling a little bit like they did when they wrap up Radio Lab, of like there's just something super profound about the way they handle the concepts. But then also like it's okay to not be all the way to that level yet, to not have a story editor and 15 other editors behind you. I don't know. I'm rambling a little bit, but I think you get the point of just it's all okay.